So lads, today we're going to be talking about something, and apologies, just back from pickup, so breathing might be a little bit hard, but yeah, it's something that I've wanted to talk about for quite a bit, and in my opinion, this is something. Sorry, not that I want to talk about, that I don't want to talk about, but I've talked about quite a lot because you kind of have to. And it was funny. It was like I saw a post last year. And it was literally talking about how all of the, it was basically it was like any award that you felt the player got robbed. And literally every single comment was, basically every single award over the last 3 years that Angel Wilson didn't win. Angel Wilson won best crossover in the WNBA. They literally gave her, or they put her in the best crossover from literally just crossing the ball over. Did she drop anyone? No, she just crossed the ball over. However, this is a tweet that I think is just completely embarrassing. And by the way, this is from, I'm not going to show the name, but this is from Angel Wilson's friend. And I'm going to give, obviously, my opinion on this. And this is a problem is that, in general, when it comes to WNBA talk, you cannot say that Angel Wilson's not the best player in the world when she's not. Napheesa Collier is on a 7-0 Minnesota Lynx team and is averaging 26.3 points at 8.3 rebounds per game, and she's doing it on 51% from the field and 45% from three. To say Angel Wilson is not really, really good is wrong. The Las Vegas Aces are 4-2 on the season. She is averaging 23, 10.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and a lot of steals on 47% from the field and 26% from three. So Fia is shooting 4% better from the field, 20% better from three. Am I right in saying that? Yeah, 20% better from three. And she is also not statistically as good a defender, but she's a better defender. She's still averaging a crazy amount of stocks, but she is the better defender because she's more versatile. She defends better on the perimeter. She's not as good a shot blocker, which Angel Wilson is, but she actually guards people. Angel Wilson just chills under the basket. And in terms of getting in passing lanes, they're very similar. So, Fia is the best player in the world. And since, whatever about last regular season, Napheesa Collier averaged 40 points in a playoff series last year. She was the finals MVP. And I understand, fair play, congratulations to Jonquel Jones winning it. But it was daylight robbery. Everybody knows. LeBron James was calling the WNBA rigged. Damian Lillard was calling the WNBA rigged. Everybody knows that that the WNBA final was, if not rigged, at least was decided by horrific refereeing. We all know that. So Napheesa Collier won MVP in Unrivaled, was by far the best player, and because Unrivaled was one and done, her team just had a cold shooting game and another team had a really hot shooting game, so they lost in the semifinals. It happens. They lost to a team, was it the Vinyl, that had absolutely no business being even in the semifinals, but they made it there. But it is what it is. It's a 3-on-3 league. But even people want to hype up Unrivaled. Napheesa Collier is she? I'm pretty sure she's leading the WNBA in scoring right now. Is she? I think she's leading the WNBA in scoring, doing it on stupid efficiency. She's barely missing free throws. She's shooting 92% from the free throw line. She's doing it from mid. She's as good, at least an equivalent mid-range shooter to Angel Wilson. She's just better at basketball. And she does everything within the flow of the offense. She's just better at basketball. And that's not saying Angel Wilson's bad. I think Angel Wilson's the second best player in the WNBA. My rankings would go, if you're asking me, Fee, Asia, Caitlin. And if you want to say, oh, Caitlin doesn't do this, Caitlin doesn't do that, watch how Caitlin Clark's team plays without her. I'm sorry, Caitlin Clark, there's nobody that can do what Caitlin Clark does. But if you want to argue Alyssa Thomas there, fine. Stewie, no. Stewie's not even the best player on her own team. We're putting Jonquel over Stewie, if we're being completely honest here. But, if you're looking at stats on the season, Napheesa Collier, I'm pretty sure, is she leading in points per game? So, in terms of total points, it is Kelsey Plum, who has played more games. Fee is currently averaging, I'm not joking when I say this, Fee is averaging 4 points per game more than Angel Wilson. She's doing it on one more shot per game. Obviously, she's shooting a lot. She's shooting more threes at a better percentage. And by the way, they're actually the exact same. They've made the exact same shot, the same amount of free throws. Brittany Sykes at the free throw line, Oh my God. In fairness, AJ Wilson's kind of struggling a bit from the free throw line. But like AJ Wilson's doing it on 47% from the field. Like she's doing it sub 50%. So like it's a worse percentage. Look. I'm not saying AJ Wilson's bad. I'm just saying Nafisa Collier is better. And it is absolute. Like you're not allowed to say that. You are not allowed in WNBA circles say that Nafisa Collier is better. Because if you say Nafisa Collier is better, you're going to see a think piece. You're going to see a think piece saying something like this. It's absolutely no defeat, but her proximity to whiteness put her in the perfect position for them to use her as the next case of who will challenge Aja. It's not using her to challenge Aja. She's just better than Aja right now. And that's not saying Aja can't become better than, at some stage, Aja can't lead the freaking Aces to a title, or Aja can't retake the crown, but right now it's Fee. And now you've got Aja Wilson's friend, who I'm not even giving this guy a platform. I'm not even going to mention this guy, but this guy, Aja Wilson, and Dawn Staley's good friend, having a white husband help create a league to give you more of a platform doesn't help the case either. Like, what are we doing? And by the way, this is a person who, like, talks nonsense in Twitter spaces, and you've got, like, Tyler Marsh, the freaking Chicago Sky coach in them. You've got coaches in these things. And that's the thing where it's like, it is the most embarrassing thing ever. It is the most embarrassing thing ever. Like, there's this league, there is legitimately, and I mean this, there is legitimately something, like, it is a problem with the league. It is a problem with the league that, that players legit just can't, like, they just can't realize it. Like, nothing in this league, nothing even in the media. If you suggest that Nafisa Collier, she's better than Caitlin Clark, but who's better than AJ Wilson, there's no argument for who the best player in the world is, by the way. It is Nafisa Collier. I said Nafisa Collier was the best player in the world last season. And, like, she is the best defender in the WNBA. We're not using Hassan Whiteside-nomics to crown AJ Wilson as the best defender in the WNBA. She is the best rim protector in the WNBA, I'm going to be honest. She is the best rim protector, and I am by absolute no means like saying that she's not a good defender or the best rim protector, but Nafisa Collier is the best defender in the WNBA. Unless you want to talk about, like, guards. And then I'm trying to even think who I would consider the best guards in the WNBA. Or on defense. Like, Court's okay. Ryan Howard just runs around hacking people. I think Lexi O's defense has actually been exceptional this year. I think she's been exceptional. I'm not putting Sonia Citra on the top defenders conversation. Kayla McBride's a really good defender. There's a lot of really good defending guards. And I think Dejanay just goes around hacking people. Jackie Young, when she wants to be, is probably one of the best defenders in the W. But, like, if we're being honest, if you're watching games, especially in games that the Aces are winning, I don't know who the best player in the Aces has been between Jackie Young and AJ Wilson. AJ Wilson had 35 against the scrub Sparks. And that's fine. Like, it's fine when you're coming up against a bad team having 35. But, like, other than that, Nafisa Collier's been unbelievable. She's been unbelievable. If you look at the game logs as well, she had 16 in a game, and then she was injured right after that. So she got injured right after having her worst game of the year. That's her first bad game of the year. She had 30-something to start the year. She had like 30-something, 28, 23, 28, 33, 16, 24. Like, it is so consistent. She does everything in the flow of her offense. She's a super consistent player overall. And there's just no argument to be made that right now. And you might be saying, oh, she just had a hot start. But it wasn't like she wasn't arguably the best player in the world last season. She was. It's not like she didn't average 40 points against the Phoenix Mercury. And if she didn't, the ironic thing is, if she averaged 30 in that playoff series, they lose. She carried the Lynx through a playoff series against a tough Mercury team, basically by herself averaging 40. But no, you're not allowed to say that because apparently the only reason, like, is it not embarrassing? And by the way, these are people that are in the vicinity of the WNBA media. They're in the vicinity of the media. And this is the reason why you have to talk about this, because you're not allowed to talk about basketball. You're not allowed to talk about basketball in the WNBA. Otherwise, something's wrong. Something's wrong with it. If you do not think that Aja Wilson is, is the greatest basketball player of all time, if you don't think Aja Wilson would beat Josh Hart in a one-on-one 11-0, if you don't think Aja Wilson could solve world hunger if she wanted to, it's apparently only because of what Aja Wilson looks like and where Aja Wilson was born. I think Aja Wilson's a really good basketball player. I think she's a really good basketball player. That's it. Do I like Angel Wilson? Hell no. One of the main reasons I don't, there's two main reasons I don't like Angel Wilson. I don't like any player saying they feel unsafe in Indiana because they're like, oh, we think something might pop off. Because nothing has happened in the crowd at Indiana games. Whatever about on social media with fans, it is what it is. Nothing has happened in the crowd, and those crowd are mostly kids. I don't like I will say this, any player that is made up, that is just made up that they don't feel safe there with no evidence, they instantly go on my fuck you list because you're basically just calling a bunch of kids racist. Kids of all races, by the way. You've called a bunch of kids racist and a bunch of kids that are the same race as you, basically calling them freaking, I've heard them call, as far as calling them freaking traitors, which is like the most embarrassing thing. These are kids. These are kids. I don't like any of these players that have said this. And Angel Wilson's included in that. And one of the main reasons I don't like Angel Wilson is that anytime she gets called out for her like a horrible good friend, it becomes like, it genuinely becomes a, like, she starts complaining and almost playing the victim. And it's like, dude, like, you are just literally, like, again, I'm not saying the guy is 100% guilty of something, because it is like, you don't want to say a guy's guilty if he's not, but what that dude was accused of and what he was charged for, that he probably possibly did, is horrible. And if anyone ever, this Dawn Staley tweets out this guy all the time, and if anyone says anything negative to Dawn Staley, they get blocked. Like, it's a freaking cult. It's a freaking Mean Girls club with the South Carolina ones at the top. And unfortunately, Angel Wilson is Queen Bee. And if you say in one negative word about her, it can never be about basketball. It can never be about basketball. Because the best female basketball player in the world right now is Napheesa Collier. And again, it's not saying that someone can't take the crown back. There was a stage where Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best male basketball player in the world, and then Jokic went and snatched his chain. Jokic became the best male basketball player in the world. And then there was a time where you could maybe argue Luka coming into last year's playoffs because of what he did getting to the finals. But Jokic went and took it right back. Shea is now entering that conversation. I don't think you're putting him up at Jokic level, but no one's saying it's an impossibility for Giannis Antetokounmpo to get back in that conversation, because when we talk about NBA, we talk about ball. But this isn't talking about ball. And this is a big problem. And this is not directly caused by Angel Wilson, but it's everything in the media. The media seems to be ran by Angel Wilson stands. And I mean this. Fee is the best player in the WNBA. And I don't think, there is no argument, by the way, that Fee is not the MVP right now. And by the way, Napheesa Collier has had maybe, outside of like a couple of Maya Moore years, you could argue she's had the best start to a WNBA career ever, or WNBA season ever. But yeah, it is pretty much it, lads. I'll see you guys.